Hey guys, Father Time, got a cool thing for you today. We're going to use the TFDi MD-11 and fly the exact same route that I did for PMDG 777 a couple of days ago, an FSIPanel 2020 pre-canned route with icing and de-icing and icy taxiways, low visibility, missed approach, holding. Very complicated route. I'll be honest with you, by the time I'm done with this thing, I'm usually sweating. It's a lot of work. When you do these, I'm not going to go through the whole FSIPanel to tell you should get it. I'll have the link listed in the description below. You have to follow the lesson plan. The lesson plan tells us we have to be at gate A15, so I'm going to go to A15, which I know is right down here from yesterday. A15, set as departure. Also, time of day, any daylight. Let's go 11:47 is fine. And then we're going to go, you could do it at night. You could do it at night. And then you have to go to preset weather and go on down. And I've already downloaded this scenario off FSIPanel. You've got to find, there it is, Swiss Air Flight 2806, which actually goes by the call sign 7LV. That's for the later thing. So we've got a preset weather, using the weather that we download off FSIPanel, gate 15, and we'll start the flight using that and fly. On the sim brief side of things, from the lesson plan, we have to go in here and go to sim brief. There it is, Swiss Air 7 Lima Victor. You got to put in 17,000. I put an extra few thousand pounds of fuel for the bad weather. 17,000, no step climbs, and view the PDF. And we've got ourselves our flight plan. I'll be using these checklists. I'm using this Origination Preflight. Join my Discord. Link will be in below the description. Go to the MD-11, accept the terms so you behave yourself, and then go ahead into the MD-11 manuals. You can find all these manuals there. You got pre-flight, you got normal checklist, printable, foldable, FMS checklist, everything I'm going to be talking about, emergency procedure checklist, everything I'm talking about, welcome pack, training manual with all sorts of different things that you can train on with a clickable menu. If you just go here, let's see, CAT III, right here, remarks, table of contents, go back and forth. A little primitive, but I did it. Here's a systems menu. Come up here, fire handle, read about the fire handle courtesy of the MD-11 guys on that particular one. And anytime you go here, you can go back to home, and a lot of them I've done myself. Glacier control panel, giving you a little rundown of that stuff. And last thing is a holding. Anyway, please feel free to help yourself there. Go on over, join the Discord, participate. We could use your help. Beautiful TFDi MD-11. I love the plane. It's getting better and better and better. It's a quirky plane in real life. It is. I have 2,000 hours in it, just like I do in the 777. I retired off the 777, so that has near and dear to my heart. I retired back in September, 10 months ago, and this was my last airplane I flew as a first officer back in 92 through 97 to Europe, South America, a little bit of Caribbean. Just a beautiful airplane, American Airlines colors. But today we're Swiss Air Flight 711 at Zurich, going to Geneva in a snowstorm. So a lot of big icing profile, low visibility, nasty weather, tough approaches. Let's get started. Cold dark airplane. I am going to timestamp this, guys, so feel free to jump back and forth, whatever you need to do. Once you're on board and you got to get power on the aircraft, I can start FSIPanel. I'm not going to go through the whole pre-flight. Suffice it to say, it's a great detail in the cockpit. Go to Musafa if you want every little 20-minute videos breaking down the flight, and it's great instructional. All mine will be cold dark. You can hop around if you want. There's 3 fire bottles, one there, halon fire extinguishers, another one there, and another one behind the captain's seat. And then if you go right down there, and if you right here is pressure breathing equipment to fight fire. There's a hood. You put it on, cinch it tight. It breathes. You get about 15 minutes to fight a fire. Gear pins in case you get stuck out. Flashlight. This is an ELT in case you're overwater ditching. Captain takes that with him. And this is the first observer seat. It's swiveled forward. So the old DC-10 engineers panel was. This is their comm panel. Over here, there's first aid kit. Their oxygen panel. Over here is the oxygen panel for the second observer whose seat would fold down off the wall and sit behind over the captain's left shoulder out in this area over here. And that's that. With that out of the way, we're going to get the power up checklist going, and we'll be using the flow as I showed you. This one, like that, and I have it memorized, obviously. I'll go through some of that stuff with you. I recommend you guys study before you get on this airplane. It's complicated, but it's great. There's the radar, make sure that's off. Fuel levers are all off. Start switches are in, throttles are idle, thrust reversers are down. Breakout, over boost breakout bar is full aft. That's what knocked forward if a kid's playing in the cockpit, or someone inadvertently does it, or if in fact it was used in an airplane where you're underpowered, like you lost 2 engines on takeoff. It'll just put that engine right down to every last ounce of thrust it can give you, a pound of thrust it can give you, ounce actually. Spoiler lever's down, flap lever's up, gear handle is down. Come up here, you've got to check the dump switch and the dump manifold are covered and off, and the wipers are off, and that's the power up checklist. Now you can put power on the aircraft, battery on. You can see that there's no CRTs. And we're going to try the external power has the veil light, which means the volts and freaks are good. Put it on. These take about a minute to fully come up. TFD has a model about 5 seconds to save you a little bit of time so it doesn't make you crazy. Now you can go to the overhead. Guys, upstream of consciousness, guys, I'm not a immersion guy, other than to tell you that what I do is 100% accurate. And if it's not, put it in the comments. I'm always open to suggestions. And I'm very thorough, and you will gain something on every video that I show you, just based on my over 4 decades of flying, 4.5, almost 5. I'm going to turn on the, not bragging, it's just fact, this cargo fire messages warning light. And that comes on automatically when you power up. Test the voice recorder circuit breaker. Here's the erase button. If you want to say something inappropriate, you can erase it off the voice recorder. There's your generator bus vault lights. They're off. Galley buses are off. Cargo temps, you get puppies. We usually put these at 12 o'clock and high. Ignition is off. FADEC, which is like the EEC, the lights are out. Ignition will be using that for start. Override is both igniters, A or B. We'll be using probably A today. Second column fire handles are all up. If you want to pull shut down an engine, throttle off, throttle idle, fuel control switch cut off, pull the fire handle and twist it to dispel an agent, twist it the other way to get the other one. This is a hydraulic panel. We're going to go, make sure it's not in manual. We're going to go hydraulic pressure test, put it on, and you're going to see lights changing up here as it tests it. We're not going to watch it. Coming back down to the electrical panel, we're going to go arm. Easy for me to say, right? Armed. We've got external power here. Before we load the people, let's get the APU on. We've got the 4 fire lights, 4 fire messages, fire master warning, and lastly, the 3 lights in the handle. And with that, you push the master warning to shut it off. Make sure it shuts off. Good. And with that, you come up and you can start the APU either on the APU start panel, start switch right there, but this is the one I highly recommend. Press it. It's going to take a little while. That way, when you shut down the APU bleed after engine start, it will shut down automatically. It's got a little more safeties built in, so I always recommend you use this. You can see it's a little dark up here. There's a few lights you can put up. One's here. Slide that all the way up. 2. This rheostat. The third one is here. I'm just going to put them all up because we're going into nasty weather. And the last ones are the CRTs. I am going to do all of them up here. And I'm going to go way down, make myself real little, and put these all the way up to 6 CRTs. Captain's PFD ND, it's the EAD, engine alert display, system display, FO's nav display, and FO's PFD. I just recommend this whole thing is systems display control panel. And when you see a light on, that means there's an associated message up here. So if I push the status page and get all of them, there they all are. But which one is associated with the air? Ice detected. How about the engine? Engine ignition. That's how that works. All right, back to the overhead. APU's running. I'm going to turn on the APU bleed. Get it cooling off, warming up in here. Take off the external power. I'm going to go to the EFB, and I'm going to shut off the external power because they're going to be wanting it. Take off the chalk, so when I do that, got to remember to put the brakes on. and brakes are on. To get the brakes on, I got to depress the pedals, pull back the handle. Press the pedals, pull back the handle. Okay, now up here, now we got the warming air coming in. I'm going to go activate the FMCs, check the database. We're good to, today is July 22nd. I retired on September 6th. We're coming up on 10.5 months. Yikes. Flight plan init, got 10 minutes to do that. There you go. You notice there's nothing in here. Let's go to the EFB. We'll get that initialized. I'm going to go dispatch and import the flight plan. I'm signed in SimBrief. Send the flight plan on over. Send the payload on over. Oop, not quite yet. Wasn't ready yet. Sometimes you do that. You got to wait a minute. Hang on. Hang on 1 second. Sometimes you get out of it. Come back to it. And there it is. Payload set. Don't know why. You know all about the EFB. I'm not going to go through everything with you. It is the extended range. If you have that option, you bought that package with TFDi. It gives you an extra few hundred miles. Gets you to India out of New York or something. Pause at the top of descent. There it is right there. Hoppy login code. There's my SimBrief username. Systems, whatever you want there. Caution and warning system. Performance. I wouldn't touch anything there. There's the states. We're going to cold and dark. Services. Charts. Going to sign in. If you scan or visit, the scan code change every time, so it's no use stealing mine. You can do it. And I'm just going to do the little scan like you do in a restaurant with a menu, or you can go to the Navigraph website and sign in that way. I think several of the add-on aircraft use a very similar technique. And there's allow TFDi, there it goes, and we're signed in. And if you want to put in Zurich, that's LSZH. I've been there many times on the 767, never on the MD-11 or the 777. All right, so that's the charts. Perf, we'll get ready here. Runway 32 is our takeoff runway according to the lesson plan. Slope 0. Runway length. If you got an intersection, it was 2,000 feet down the runway, you could put in 8,827 and then run the data. I'm not going to use get weather information. You certainly could if you use them live. And the reason is FSIPanel, you sold me load the preloaded, and so I have to put in the weather that's on that preload. That's the only thing that's sort of different. There are the winds. Temperature is -3. Right now it's 23 degrees for real in Zurich. And pressure 1018 is the altimeter. That's good. And takeoff weight, I can get that one. Takeoff thrust setting. We're contaminated runway, so it's max power. Anti-ice, I'm going to turn on the engine. Wing, you only do once you're airborne, above 1,000 in this airplane. There it is, engine on. Specific, I'll use flaps 15 just because I liked it. I don't have to reset it. Packs are on, and calculate. Sometimes it could take up to 10 seconds to calculate, and there it is. 126, 133, 153, no flex temp because we're max power. Okay, we can go down to the box now, and you can see that everything's in there but the departures and arrivals. So go to init. I'm not going to put the alternate in, I'll show you why. And we are Swissair SWR 7 Lima Victor. So SWR 7 Lima Victor. This is a tough profile. You're going to see it is a lot. It's a lot. I think it's listed as a 3. I just happen to know the temperatures here. I don't know what the winds are. But I'll tell you, I'm humping when I do this one. Yesterday I was really working hard. -4 on the winds. So you got a little headwind on our tiny little flight. And our cost index is 54. So put in 54. Or what did I leave blank here? Just the alternate. And the reason is, if I put an alternate in there, courtesy of Mustafa, he told me that you can't put the alternate fuel. You definitely want the alternate fuel off the flight plan. And the reason is, the alternate fuel off the flight plan includes the route. Here's the alternate route from Geneva back to Zurich. And so it's not, the box will compute a direct. This is the actual routing you'll be flying historically, so you want to use that fuel. So the alternate fuel is 8.5. The reserve will compute automatically, 8.5. So that's good. There's our fuel. I added a few thousand pounds. We're supposed to be around 388 if you take a look at the flight plan. I just always notice this. So empty, let's see, the estimated takeoff weight, 386.5, and 0 fuel weight 354.7. So 354.7. And there it is, 384 because we're taking off the 2000 for taxi. Looks good. We'll put on the 0 fuel weight CG as well as the takeoff weight CG. Third page is dumping. Don't need anything here for now. Go to the flight plan. LZC8. We're going to take off runway 32 after de-icing. A lot of de-icing going to take place today, guys. I think you're going to like it. This is Vebit for November is what we're doing with no transition. Insert that. You see this 210. This is I'm going to get rid of this point when we get going. I'll tell you why. When we get there, it creates a little squiggly. Just trust me on that one, all right? That's good. So then I'm going to go down to, at least I did yesterday, Almez. And they're saying they're going to be on ILS to 4. We'll see. ILS 4, in this transition. And then we're going to go to one of the Almez's, either November or Papa. Looks like for November. Almost for November. Insert it. And there you go. It's in there. We would go through. We check the database. We go to the init. We go through together, make sure we got everything in there. They're all filled out, pages 1 and 2. You got flight plan. We'd walk through that together, make sure. And while we're doing that, guys, you definitely want to go to plan and look for anything funky. Took the range all the way down. That looks good right there. When you have that 610 in there, it does a little squiggle. I don't like it, so I got rid of it. At least it did yesterday. I didn't want to take the chance. Walk through the flight plan. Check the total distance under Prague. And the total distance on here is 181. And the flight plan said it should be 173, so that's close enough. That's all we look for. Make sure it's in the ballpark. Go to takeoff. All right, we're going to go no flex temp. Packs are going to be on. It assumes packs off, by the way. It's weird. Flex 15. Slope 0. Wind 0. I don't bother with that. Temperature was -3. And you got to put Celsius in there. Engine thrust reduction is at 1,500 feet. Acceleration is 3,000 feet. Standard ICAO for Europe. And then bugs are here. And every time I click those, I make sure they're all in magenta up here. All right. So the box is loaded. Let's finish the overhead. And we'll get ourselves out of here. We can start FSIPanel now because we have power on the aircraft. We'll get that booting up. Here he goes. Trained like real pilots. It's connecting. I'm not going to go through and hit airline flights. Here it is, our flight right there. Start training. And we'll start letting it boot up here. Please stand by. Loading ATC pack. On the bottom here, the ATIS is always going to be 2345. This should be the last frequency I probably have to check today because I've got a feature set up on FSIPanel where after a couple of seconds it'll automatically change my frequencies. But I'm setting up number 2 to ATIS 2345. 2345 is the ATIS for every airport that FSIPanel uses. Click here to acknowledge. Let's get our ATIS.
Runway 32.
There we go.
Arrivals expect ILS runway 34. Transition level 75. Wind 250 degrees at 4 knots. This is Zurich departure information Tango. Departure runway 32. Arrivals expect ILS runway 34. Transition level 75. Wind 250 degrees at 4 knots. Visibility 600 meters. Moderate snow. Cloud overcast 100 feet. Overcast 3,000 feet. Temperature 0. Dew point -1. QNH 1018. Runway 28 closed. For runway contamination, refer to the latest SNOTOM. Expect remote de-icing at Bay Charlie 1 or Charlie 2. Acknowledge received Zurich departure information Tango.
All right, guys, sorry about that little hesitation there. I had to activate my drone controller.
This is Zurich departure information
Let's come inside and shut the ATIS off. I want to show you something that I think you'll enjoy.
Arrivals expect ILS runway 34. Transition level 7.
Runway 32, 1018 is the altimeter. Up here, 1018
Crew
is
boarding
set.
starting.
All right, let's go outside. I want to show you. Our plan is to push back. We'll get de-iced at the gate because you got condensation on the aircraft, ice on the aircraft. If we have to start engines here and taxi over the de-icing, so you want at least the engines de-iced. De-iced, not anti-ice, de-iced. Then we'll push back. They'll turn us somewhere in here, facing this way. We'll be cleared up on Juliet. Hold short of 28. Clear left and right, and here are the de-icing pads over here. Like I said, I did this yesterday with the PMDG 777. It's a lot of fun. Not easy though, not easy. C1, C2, C3. Yesterday they gave us C2. Come up here, and on the de-icing page, it says to hold at that line right there and request de-icing, and that'll be type 4, maybe even type 1 and 4, depending on the amount of precipitation we got.
Your crew
Anyway,
has boarded.
that's our plan. It's important you guys
Passengers boarding
have a
started.
good view of the plan. It's better than a Venn diagram, or a diagram rather, off a Navigraph, right? Pretty cool. All right, people coming on board. Looks like the jet bridge pulled back. That ought to make it challenging for them, but we're not going to worry about that. That's between them and their creator. All right, so we're going to come back inside and run the rest of the checklist. Overhead. Real briefly, we're going to get our fuel quantity test. Going to get one, a bunch of 8s and a 0, then 10.5. And if you look down on the fuel, it should say 52.4, and it says 52.4. It's 63.0 if you're in the extended range, if you care. And packs load, set your packs, 291 we'll say, with the flight attendants. The less you've set up here, the less they bleed from your engine. So you can save fuel if you have an empty airplane by putting zeros in there. Same thing with econ. We fly in econ. If you turn it off, you get 1% greater fuel burn. Systems in auto. When we de-ice, I'm going to go to manual. It'll trip the packs, and we'll make sure the bleeds are tripped and the APU bleeds while we de-ice. Mass right there. If you 14,000 feet and the mass drop, you come in and make sure it's on for the mass. If not, you press and hold it for 1 second. We usually do that anyway. All right, fuel test is done. Dump manifold and the dump switch are covered, as well as the emergency dump switch. Talked about the lights. Emergency lights are armed. You can test them. No smoking sign is on. Seatbelt sign not yet. Nav lights, because we have power in the aircraft. 3 lights are on over here, and they're off. And 3 lights are on. All the way to the top column. This is by the smoke elimination checklist. You isolate different buses with this little checklist. Very lengthy checklist. These are the IDGs, integrated drive generators. Low oil pressure, high oil temperature will trip them, and once you disconnect them, have to be connected in the ground by maintenance. Here at the fire panel, this is evac switch. Make sure it's in the arm position. And once you start the evac switch and you want to silence the horn in the cockpit so that you can hear yourself think, you pull this, so the evac will still go in the back, but you'll be silenced in the cockpit. GPWS terrain override. If you press that, you should have to be in VFC conditions. And what that does is it overrides that. That's sometimes your IRS's or positions are wrong, and it thinks you're about to hit a mountain and you're not even anywhere close. You're looking at the runway, so you can silence the terrain warning when you know where you are. IMC, you just got to execute the escape maneuver if you get one. Flap, make sure you're in normal position. Flap override, GPWS. If you want to test it, I'll do it one time. I didn't do it yesterday, I don't think. And it goes through all the different phases on the GPWS. It's a modeled very nicely. Fabio Almeida did it for TFDi, and it's pretty cool. I'll do a video on that one of these days. But you put the flap override up by checklist if you're not going to use 35 or 50 by an abnormal procedure.
Too low, flaps.
This is your AFS panel. These are your yaw dampers for Dutch roll, to combat Dutch roll.
Terrain.
Like that.
Caution.
And then the LSAS, the famous LSAS on the MD-11. It's for longitudinal stability in the elevator axis, pitch axis. You need about 2 pounds of thrust to 2 pounds of force to kind of override their LSAS's input. Doesn't feel like you always have the airplane. That's where MD-11 people aren't crazy about hand flying it. Flap limit is auto, and the elevator feel, which decreases the amount of elevator movement you can do based on your speed, so you don't over-G it artificially. Cabin pressure, you want to make sure you're not in manual like that. And if you want to see if you're in override, which the checklist says you're supposed to be in full open, there it is. You come here and you are fully open. You can see the landing elevation is Geneva right there, fully open on there. Back to the overhead. Windshield on, anti-ice is on, defog light is out. If it was off, it looked like that. We're going to turn on the engine ice at the start because we're below 10 degrees. 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit or below, and visible moisture, taxiways, runways with slush snow on it. A wing you put on about above 1,000 feet if you get airframe icing. Enunciator light done by Tim. There's your enunciator test. Do not believe how hard this is to program that. Unbelievable. But they did it. And then cargo door test, you run that. Checks all the switches. Fuel use, you reset every flight. Before you do the engine max pointer, make sure you don't have any max exceedances from a previous flight that were missed. And if that's the case, you can go ahead and push that. That's really maintenance we're doing that. And here's a ditching switch. Think of Sully landing in the Hudson River. Close the outfill valve, overboard exhaust valve, any holes on the outside of the aircraft so you float better. And this is a pressurization schedule, I think just because they had room to put a placard up, to be honest with you. If you look at the glare shield control panel, these are EFISs. EFIS, flight control panel, FCP. Whole thing is a GCP. Make sure you have indicated airspeed, not Mach, heading, not track, feet, not meters, and vertical speed, not flight path angle. Today we're going to be setting in, we can review this later, 5,000 feet in the altitude. That's a little bit spastic on my part. And the runway heading is 315 for runway 32. I got that off the 10-9 diagram. 250 or clean min maneuver. We're very light, so we're going to be below. But if you might have a clean min maneuver up to 275, 280. So it's 250 or clean min maneuver. On here, we talked about the lights. Altimeters are set. We cross-checked that. No unwanted flags. We checked everything here. Unwanted flags. We've got. I'm going to use data, traffic, and airport. And then come on across. Pull the gear handle out, and you can get a test on the handle. To be honest with you, I don't know how to do that. It doesn't seem to be working. Cage the standby attitude indicator. There we go. I'm going to put it on takeoff on the brakes. Anti-skid light is out. Here's aux pump that we're going to use for pushback. Make sure that the hydraulics, so we have brakes if we need them. Overhead, you can turn it on there. You can turn it on here. Almost everyone, knock yourself out, but almost everyone uses that one. Altimeters are all checked, 1018, and we car sit within 70 feet of each other. And then we come down to the throttle quadrant. Want to check number one.
Full lap. Left. Brakes. Full lap.
And then 2 and 3 together.
Full lap. Left. Brakes. Full lap.
And then I'm going to set 15 on the flap. You set your takeoff flaps here. I'm using 15 today. After takeoff, you'll set this to 15. So your slat stops are slats extend. I don't know. I'm getting, for whatever reason, that's hypersensitive. Slats extend is first one. Second one's dial a flap, whatever you got in there. Third one is flaps 28, which is also a go-around flap for all engines operating. Flaps 35 and flaps 50 are your two. So there's 5 settings. Flaps 35 and 50 are your 2 landing flaps, and here are the speeds right there. Gear horn, you can silence it there. Use this MCDU for if you're flying VATSIM, pre-flight, load it up, you can get departure, ATIS clearance, receive messages, CPDLC, ACARS, if you have a Hoppies code loaded in the options. Looks like they're about to be done boarding there. All right, they've got a clearance set on this side for me. We've got our ATIS, it's information Tango, 7,500 foot transition level 1018, 100 overcast. If you go to, do we have the visibility? What do we need for visibility on this runway? Let's go to Zurich. Let's take a look at 2 things. Let's start with the SID, because I should use this, right? I wanted to just show you a couple of things. So I always start on top. Transition altitude 7. So our first flight level will be 8. So it will be 7,000. and then 8 above that. 250 below 10. You see this, if and compare this to the box. Moving on over. So with the airplane, while you're in profile, is going to fly V2 up to 3,000 feet. And then it's going to look to fly the speeds on the departure. Go in here. Okay, there's our first point, 580 at or above 3,500 feet. Yeah, it had some other thing of 1680 in here. It was doing some funky little jive on the thing, so I got rid of that thing. It always pays to check this thing out against the nav display. Max 210 here at 577. We should be above our slat retract speeds. We could clean it up, but it's going to be 210 until you get all the way around here. See, this is a circle around this star. That's a fly over. Therefore, it's going to overshoot this turn. It's going to fly over this, not fly by. These others are fly by. So it's going to fly over. Oh, and then it's going to probably overshoot this one a little bit until it settles down in here. That's just how tight the SID is. That's probably why they have you at 210 to keep you inside of all the mountainous terrain and for traffic. And we've got 3,500, 5,000, 6,000, 3,500, 5,000, 6,000. And lastly, 558 is 7,000. Not quite flight level. Flight level 80 is what it should be. All right. Got that all set. Trim is all set. We can get our clearance now. They gave it to us. We're on clearance delivery, and we're set. Talking on 2193. While we're doing this, guys, let's do this.
This parking is too small.
Prepare
for
for pushback. Icewood, do you request de-icing treatment? Yes, because we have to get Type 1
De-icing
at the gate.
are coming now.
And then we got to get Type 1 and 4. You can't get 4 at the gate here. So we'll get Type 1 here at the gate. Just take the ice off the aircraft. I'd make a PA and let the people know. Let's get our clearance. Sorry to talk so fast, but this film is long enough. And Zurich clearance. This is Swiss 7 Lima Victor, gate Alpha 15, information Tango. Request clearance to Geneva.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor Grüezi, you're cleared to Geneva as found. Runway 32, debit for November, climb 5,000 feet and scope 4211.
I'm going to go turn it on. TARA. Swiss 7 Lima Victor cleared to Geneva as filed. Runway 32, debit for November, climb to 5,000, squawk 4211. 5,000 feet.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, your readback is correct. So do you need de-icing?
Yeah, you got to click it, guys.
Confirm.
Affirm. We need
ready
the
for treatment.
I'm just going to do Type 1 here,
Copied.
guys.
When ready for push, contact apron 121.755. Have a nice day.
Concentration at
121.755 ready.
I will call you
This
back
is,
when ready.
for Swiss Air 7 Lima Victor. So that was all confusing, guys. So I'm doing one thing over here, GSX, because I want to be de-iced with Type 1 at the gate. I'm not allowed to do Type 4, but I can't start engines without getting the ice off the engines. But I'm also telling them I need to use the de-icing pad. So I just told these guys just Type 1. So it's when you're running this profile, it's confusing. Let's go check in on our de-icing brothers and sisters. How cool are we? Now, can that be? Type 1 is not green, and that is white, right? I wonder if Type 4 shows up as green, which normally it is. Everything else looks buckled up. Unbelievable. I love this stuff. You guys wouldn't mind subscribing, joining my Discord. I would appreciate it. I highly recommend FSIPanel. Get the advanced edition. It has malfunctions on it. I've made a lot of videos on it, but JP over there is the owner and the lone developer, and he'll walk you through everything. There's plenty of instruction, lots of help on his Discord. Yeah, you let the people know that you're going to be de-icing and tell them a little bit about the flight. They get nervous when they see these things out there. Until they know what they are, then they really enjoy it. So, we can't put Type 4 on the airplane because it makes the ramp too slippery. So we're going to use the de-icing pad where it's not slippery. The de-icing pad info, if you care, is on here somewhere. Where did I see it yesterday? De-icing pads. Right here. See them C2? And there's the frequency for the pad coordinator when you go over there that we'll be talking to them on. And we're going to go to C1, 2, or 3. Yesterday we got C2 in the PMDG. It sounds like they're done out there. And 10-9. Let me get this up here. Yeah, we're going to push back over here. Taxi Juliet. Hold short. Go in the ice pad and a little short hop over to H3.
De-icing and anti-icing completed, and de-icing code is fluid
Couldn't
type
see any of
1.
that, could you?
Concentration at 50%. I'm disconnecting. Good day.
Okay. So that was clearance, guys. We're going to tell them when we're ready. We've got our checklist here. We'd run it together.
Icing conditions.
All
Please
through
stand
here.
by for engine start.
We go to the
until
overhead.
push is completed and brakes are set.
Seatbelt sign on. I'm going to get the beacon on. And that's all you can do for now. Actually, what I'll do is he's getting ready for it. I'll turn on the aux pump.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Apron, Swiss 7 Lima Victor at gate A15 to push and start.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor apron, Grazie. Push and start approved, facing east.
Push and start approved, facing east for Swiss 7 Lima Victor.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
I'll go outside, see what he's up to. Probably should have waited till he's hooked up before I called. So that we'd probably call Apron here and tell him, hey, we're going to need another minute. He'd say, yeah, call us back.
Locking gear.
Back inside. Nose left. Here we go.
Release parking brakes, please.
You can see that it says brakes are on right here.
Commencing push.
There we go.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push is completed and brakes are set.
Here we go. That doesn't look very safe, does it? So they want us to start because the tug has a difficult time turning on the icy ramp. Also, while we're there, FSIPanel has automatic flows and checklists. Can't use it today though, because if I did an after start flow and I ran it with the automatic FSIPanel, it would lower the flaps, and we don't lower the flaps on taxiways and runways that are contaminated with snow and ice. It gets up in the flak tracking, and when you go to raise the flaps, it binds and you can get asymmetric or stuck flaps or slats. So we'll put those on right before takeoff, right after we de-ice and put them down. So you'll notice that we're going to do a start. When he disconnects, we'll be cleared to start. We'll get rid of them, let them go, and we'll start engines, but we won't do a flight control check till after we're de-iced. This is a busy profile. It really is a lot of information to share. Yeah, some of the guys, I'm amazed, the real good streamers create content where they make it as realistic as possible. They're really good. I try to, I'm just not that good at it. My forte naturally is my mentoring younger pilots. I don't make any money doing this. It's kind of my retirement project. Let's go back inside. More instruction. I like to actually show you how I set up the Navigraph and the FSIPanel so that you can duplicate it.
Please set parking brakes.
Okay, I'm gonna press on my brakes. There it is, brakes are set down here. And we can confirm a good engine start. Let's get rid of them in the interest of stop here, complete pushback. Okay, let's go to the overhead and get the ignition on. Ignition is on. And let's start it up. I want to show you something that's kind of cool here. Air. See how these are 32, that's 27. You need 25 min pressure to start. It was at 32. It's showing that it was open. So 32, you need 25 minimum. You got oil pressure, that means it's not seized. You're above 15. Bring the fuel lever up. There's your ignition, that little blue lightning bolt.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
At 45%, start valve's going to close. You'll see the ignition go out.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
And you're going to look for 20, 460, 246. 20, 460, and I call it 8 the oil. Not 2468, 8 the oil. See how they were at 22? Now it's down to 16. It's called the oil gulp. 45% start valve's closed. Start up number 1. Let it stabilize. Go to the overhead. Turn on the engine ice for that engine. Make sure the fault light goes out. There's our guy going over there. Alright, so we have the air pressure we're supposed to look for. Make sure I have at least 25. We have at least 25. Come back inside. Engine. We have oil pressure. That's good. We're above 15. Start it up. Let's go outside and let this guy run free. Flash your taxi light at him. See ya. Love you. Never change. So you see this one around 20, around 400, around 60. 246. It ate the oil, did the oil gulp. There's the oil gulp on this one. It's down to 17, 16. It's important to note those because you want to see there's oil consumption burn rates on a particular flight. Like if you're on an 8-hour flight, I think it's 4 quarts it can burn down before you have to write it up. Then you have minimums. 2, 4, 6, 8 the oil. Go to the overhead. Before you do anything else, turn on the engine ice so you don't pot it out with ice. Fault light means it's in transit or it's faulted. It's good. Come back in here. Go to air. You can see that's at 32. I'm going to open it. It'll drop down to, got to have at least 25. Got 27. That's good. Back to engine because we want to make sure we have oil pressure before we bring it up, and you got to have at least 15% over here on the N2. 15%. Bring that bad boy up. Got a good start. There's your ignition, remember? And we're going to get 45% start valves closed. Captain would call out 45. Start valves closed. 3 good starts. Usually we taxied lightweight, good weather on 1 and 3, started 2 on the way out. Not usually, but a lot of times if we're very lightweight. It's 45% start valves closed. Looking for 2, 4, 6. Typically, if you're at 30, either your throttles aren't at idle or it's stuck in approach idle, which is a no-go. This should be around 1,200. If you're up at 8,000 feet, it's going to be more like 1,600, 1,700 fuel flow. But otherwise around 1,200. So you can see the oils are down around 15 from 22. Yeah, they look good. Let's go back to the overhead. Number 2, engine ice is on. Looks good. APU bleed is off. That'll shut down automatically after 1 minute. Cool down. Go to your status page. Just got ice detected. That's fine. Go to engine. Go to checklist. Is your after start. There's everything I've been doing right there. After start, config page, flight control, stab trim should be around 4.5. Go into the page here. Oh, 4.5. Get that up there. Well, we have hydraulics. 4.5. Arm the spoilers. Auto brakes and TO, and we should be ready. Apron, Swiss 7 Lima Victor, taxi.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, taxi inner, Juliet, Original Runway 28.
Inner Juliet, short of 28 for Swiss 7 Lima Victor. Clear left and right. Let's go up to the overhead, get the taxi light on. Taxi light is on. That's landing light. Taxi light's on. And brakes are coming off. They're off. Here we go. Less than 40%. All right, real slow, guys, because this is tough stuff out here. It's very slippery. And yesterday with the PMDG, it was slippery when I was taxiing. You got to really be going slow. And we're heading on over to the de-icing pad, where typically they would probably hit you up with another one to get any stuff off the airplane, then hit you with the anti-icing fluid, a Type 4, 100%, usually called safe wing. And with this kind of moderate precipitation, you probably have around 25 minutes. We have an iPad program. Naturally, this day and age, we plug in the holdover time, the type of fluid, the type of precip, and it gives us our holdover time with a running clock. If for some reason the holdover time expires, you got to come back and get de-iced again.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, or short runway 28, and contact apron 121 decimal 855. Have a nice day.
Hold short of 28, contact apron 121 855. You too, sir. Swiss 7 Lima Victor. I'm trouble getting used to that call sign. All right, holding short here. 121 855. Apron, Swiss 7 Lima Victor's holding short of 28 at Juliet.
Hello, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. Cross runway 28, taxi de-icing pad Charlie 2, and report ready to resume taxi and when de-icing is completed.
Okay, clear to cross runway 2A, use taxi pad Charlie 2. We'll call you ready to taxi. Swiss Air 7 Lima Victor. All right, guys, clear left and right, one crossing the runway. Good. I did get the transponder on, right? Yes, I did. On and TARA. Your nose gear is right there, right where that speed tape is. Same thing on the Boeings. Airbus's, it's like over here. I noticed, at least the A320. So I'm a Boeing pilot, McDonnell Douglas. I've flown the 72, 73, 75, 76, 777. I've flown the MD-80, MD-11, A300, T-37, and tankers in the Air Force, so 707 too. So I have 21,000 hours, a couple thousand in this, and I retired in September. My first flight when I was at the Air Force Academy in 1976. So very strange being out of it. I'll tell you, coming back in these airplanes is very nostalgic for me when you get these high fidelity add-ons like the 777 MD-11. I was in this airplane when I was 35 years old, and it kind of brings me back to those years. Not to be nostalgic and a big pushover, right, guys? Remember that yellow line? I have to stop up there, and then I'll use GSX to de-ice, and I'm going to request Type 4, and I'll make a PA to the people. Taxi very slowly. Definitely want to be in the middle. So I overshot a little, and at that yellow line, right and close enough, right here. We are sliding, and the brakes are set. I know that because parking brakes on. All right, let's go to GSX. Request de-icing.
The icing vehicles are coming now.
When I put that Type 1 on the airplane, guys, I did not turn off the bleeds, which I should have, so my bad. So it just puts stinks in the cabin. And so we come in to put the bleeds packs off, just go to manual. It's going to turn off the packs. Then you got to make sure the APU bleed is off.
Confirm aircraft is ready for treatment.
And the bleed's off. And I want it type 4. 100%.
We begin treatment now and observe fluid type 1. Concentration at 100%. I will call you back when ready.
Somehow it said type 1. We're going to assume this is type 4, which is what we were asking for. We have no way to talk to him without setting off the FSIPanel. We'll go outside and watch him put on type 4. I must have accidentally clicked type 1. And we make a PA. We let the people know, ladies and gentlemen, it's Captain Richard. Welcome aboard our flight to Geneva. We'll be underway here shortly. As those of you with a window seat can look out and see the airplane wings and fuselage and engines being de-iced and anti-iced for the stormy winter day. This keeps snow and slush ice from accumulating on the wings during flight. When they're done, you'll see a green residue on the wings, kind of a high viscosity fluid. That is the anti-icing fluid. You'll see it kind of rolling off the back of the wings as we fly. All of that is very normal. We're underway here shortly. Kind of a snowy day, same kind of weather in Geneva. They're landing currently to the northeast with low visibility. And the temperature is about 0, which is 32 degrees Celsius. Thanks for your patience. Be underway in about 10 minutes. Guys, they would also get the tail, the engines. That's not going to be simulated today. We get about a 3-minute de-icing versus 10 to 12, which it normally takes. There we go. A lot of times they put the Type 1 on, get the stuff off, and then put a Type 4 on. And they come on and tell you when your holdover time started. Once again, oh, here's an interesting thing. If the preset stops during your holdover time, which it has not, then you are, if the preset stops, you no longer have a holdover time. Your holdover time stops. We even have guys confused about that in the airline.
Fluid type 1. Concentration at 100%.
I'll see guys
Good day.
who've been waiting in line and preset has stopped 20 minutes ago, and they go back to the gate because they said their holdover time has expired. They don't know is their holdover time ended when the precip ended. All right, we wait 1 minute. Let's assume we're 1 minute, but in the meantime, we're going to lower the flaps down to 15, just 2 clicks. Here they come down to 15. Go to config page. We'll come in here. It looks like they're pulling away. We're going to go rudders. Hold on to that nose wheel steering while you're doing it so you don't throw any tugs around out there, which of course you wouldn't be doing it then anyway. You don't scrub the nose gear. Elevators, and you can check the tire pressures and the brake temps while you're at it. Okay, that's checked, and now it's time to go back to the overhead, and we can go to auto on the pressurization system, make sure everything goes back to normal. Engine bleed should come on. There we go. Come back down to the system display control panel, go to status, and all that we have is ice detected, which is normal. I'm just going to pop the brakes real quick, and you can see we have green box. That's good for takeoff. I'm going to decrease the range. I'm going to arm the nav, arm the profile, and I'll arm auto flight. It'll come out, toggle will come out at 70%. I noticed that my box is not. Which one is that? V2? It's right here. V1. It was not pink. There it is. Swiss 7 Lima Victor is ready.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, taxi holding point Hotel 3 via Kilo.
Hotel 3 via Kilo, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. Hotel 3, flight attendants prepare for takeoff. Hotel 3 is right there. Yeah, if it's a miracle with all the jumping around with GSX communications on icing and communicating with FSIPanel that you don't hit the wrong switch. I did that once before. It just terminates the whole program. So this one's a little tricky with all that stuff. So we got profile alarm, nav on. It's going to go V2 until 3,000 above the ground, and then it's going to push over and it's going to accelerate. We'll get the flaps and slats up, and it's going to be 210 until that point. We'll be flying in nav, and if we lose an engine, 4,000 feet's a good altitude. We can come back into this runway 32. It's 270 at 3 on the winds. We'll use flaps. We'll see what the problem is when we come back.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, when ready, contact tower 118.1. Safe flight.
Okay, 18-1 when ready. Swiss 7 Lima Victor. Thanks a lot. Have a good day, sir. All right, let's go down here. Wait for 18-1 to pop up. And 18-1 when ready. Swiss 7 Lima Victor. I don't know. Is it going to change over? There we go. Yeah. I guess I don't know what I did wrong there. Let me see. And tower Swiss 7 Lima Victor is ready for takeoff on runway 32.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor Tower, hello, runway 32, line up and wait. Expect departure in around 1 minute.
Line up and wait, runway 32, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. I'm going to get the lights on now, guys, and the intensities. Line up and wait, and I'm also going to chime them. No smoking sign. Takeoff's imminent. It's less than a minute, and I'm going to be going so slow that I want to have everything done when I get out there. Here we go. Final is clear on TCAS, because you can't really see. Let's get out there. Nothing special about the rotation, just a slow turn onto the runway. Could be a little slippery. We have a requirement to run the engines up to 50% static takeoff and check just in case there's any residual ice in the engines that might be ingested. So we run it up to 50%. If it looks good, we'll release the brakes, run up to 70, which case we'll get toga, and off we go. Going a little fast, and it does not want to turn when it goes fast with this ice.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, wind light and variable, RVR 700, 800 and 800, runway 32, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 32, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. All right, like I said, I'm required with all the ice and everything on. I'm going to stop going straight ahead. Run the throttles up to 50%. Check for reasonableness. EGTs, no popping or burning. That looks good. Then bring it up, release the brakes, bring it up to 70. And at 70%, it'll kick in. There it goes. Going up to 106.2. And there it goes. And we're going to look for 80 knots. 80 knots throttle takeoff clamp. Here's V1. Rotate 2 to 3 degrees per second. Bring it on up. With the new flight dynamics package, guys, this thing is flying very realistically. Positive rate gear up. And we're in nav. And we're going to get the autopilot on because we got a lot to do and talk about. Autopilot is on. We got nav. We're all pink, so the FMS
Swiss
is
7 Lima Victor, contact departure 125.955.
So V2 to 3,000 feet.
Shut off roll.
125.955. Thanks a lot. Swiss 7 Lima Victor. There it is. Swiss 7 Lima Victor is leveling at 4,000. 5,000.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor identified. Continue climb 7,000 feet.
Continue climb to 7,000 feet. Swiss 7 Lima Victor. So it's 7,000, guys. 80 is our first flight level. We asked for 7. We got 7 there, and it's climbing out of 5. And we are maintaining, we can go flaps up, but we got to keep slats, we'll keep the slats retracted, even though we're above slats retract speed, until we get closer to here, because we are making a turn here. Just my personal technique. 6 for 7, it's maintaining 210 until that point. Right, and I've got my slats extended. 6 for 7. It's fighting to do it. It's doing a nice job, better than I can do. Yeah, if I had pulled up the slats, I could have. We're above clean, but it's. I'm gonna wait till I'm a little more comfortable here. We're kind of hunting around a little bit. Somewhat like simulating, almost like a turbulence. I'd rather have the margin. Here he comes, leveling at 7. There it is. Remember, the first flight level is 8, so we'll get our altimeters once we start climbing. All right, now that we're rolled out, I'm going to bring the slats up.
Altitude.
Slats are retracting, because here it's going to go up to 250, so we'll be trending positively. Brakes off, spoilers down. I'm going to leave the engine ice on. You got half a mile or so, 7/10 of a mile, and this should pop up to 250. Does a nice job, right guys? One thing I had to catch is that little thing on the FMS when I was checking it against the nav display. I don't like the way that looked. There it is, white, and it's going up to 250. Beautiful. Yeah, I kept the slats out just because we're doing a lot of turning and it was bouncing around a little bit. Beautiful. This is the ice. I think our spoiler, gear, flaps, auto brake selectors, EAD, check, no alerts. Looks good. Good up to 10,000. Remember, ATIS is always 2345, so Geneva
Swiss
ATIS.
7 Lima Victor, climb flight level 130 and proceed to direct Vebit.
Altitude.
Climb to flight level 130, direct to Vebit, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. 130, direct, Vebit, no beam points. Looks good, here we go. Vebit's up there. Now, the funny thing about the MD-11, guys, see that turn point? It's going to try to correct over here and use that original course. That's just what it did. A lot of times you're going to get is ATC saying, hey, Swiss, where are you going? So somewhere in here, we usually clean it up, redo it a little bit, and go direct to Vebit again. So it takes a direct course instead of correcting back to that original course. They were out of 10. A couple of things happen at 10, right? We come up here, we get the lights out, and we desterilize them. Check was complete through 10. And we also got to get what, guys? Why didn't you guys tell me? We got to get the altimeters, 1013 cross check. That should have been done out of 7. At least we didn't level off in there and mess it up. Good.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, contact the Swiss radar, 128.9er.
28.9 for Swiss 7 Lima Victus, yeah. Wait for 28.9 to pop up here. 3, 2, 1. Boop. 28.9. And you know what?
Moderate snow. Cloud overcast 100 feet. Overcast 4,000 feet. Temperature 0. Dew point -1.
And
QNH1, this is Geneva Information Uniform. Runway in use 22. ILS approach.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, Swiss radar bonjour. Identified, climb flight level 170, and be advised runway 22 in use in Geneva. Low visibility procedures in force.
Swiss, bonjour. Climb to flight level 170, runway 12 and low visibility. Thanks a lot. All right, so that's change of runway. Always fun, always fun. So our route is up to...
This is Geneva Information Uniform. Runway in use 22.
Oh,
ILS approach. Transition level 80.
Star.
Wind 240 degrees at 4 knots.
ILS
Visibility
22.
400 meters. Moderate snow. Cloud overcast 100 feet. Overcast 4,000 feet. Temperature 0. Dew point -1. QNH 1018. Braking action medium. Low visibility procedures in force. Acknowledge receive Geneva information uniform.
Alright, so information uniform, low visibility. That's different than the runway I got yesterday. That's interesting. 16 for 17. Let's go ahead and check our arrival. This is for, Geneva, Star, Almez 1 North, or what is it? Let's see. For runway 221 Romeo. 1 Romeo. So let's go to the box. We're going to go BADEP, debit,
altitude,
BADEP. Then I think it's Almez after BADEP. Let's take a look at that. Almez, yeah, after BADEP. Almez. Don't know why that dropped out of the box, but we'll check it out. Almez. These other points are correct. Almez. Star, ILS 22. Is that Almost 1 Romeo? Let me see here. Almost 1 Romeo for 22, yes. I'm not going to put in the SPR transition. Let me just do this. Almez, Siva. Sorry guys. Let's check it out. Almez, Siva. Vadar, then SPR. Oh, there it is. SPR, and then a straight in for 22. That's why it's like that. Well, it's going to be a quick approach. Let me go to the approaches. ILS 22 CAT 3, low visibility. ILS 22 SPR, GB11. I don't think there's any need for this 224 there. Right there, we can leave it in there. I ain't gonna get rid of that. That's not even on the oh yeah, there it is, 17. That is on there. So it's 224 at above 7, and then G0808 above 4, GB11, and pedal 4600.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, you are cleared. UMS 1 Romeo arrival.
Cleared the UMS 1 Romeo arrival, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. Alright, so UMS 1 Romeo arrival. Basically, it's a straight-in approach. Look at us. We're pretty much lined up for that. Only problem is, guys, let's go over the approach. ILS CAT 3 rather. We need to put 0 in our radio altimeter, so we're going to get this over to radio. And I'm going to bring this all the way down to 0, which is about the fastest I've ever done it for a Category 3 approach. We are on page 11-2, effective 2 November, 1087, 224. It won't come in until 25 miles out. I'm going to let it auto-tune that, all right? I'm not going to hard-tune it. And then I'm going to cross the FAF at 4,000 glide slope intercept. We've checked all these points going in. We're going down to 0. We need the weather of 75 meters for CAT 3. Pappy's on the left, reel on the right. We review the, and after landing, let's take a look at that. after landing. Runway 22, probably get off at Delta. Yesterday we parked over here at gate 5. I don't know if that's what they have planned for us. Well, it's going to be somewhere over here. So I'll probably get off at Delta. So coming back inside, you know, on the missed approach, let me take a look at that too. Obviously, I'd hand over the airplane to the other guy while I was going through these gyrations. Missed approach is up to 7,000. Straight ahead.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, contact now. Geneva arrival 136.255. Bonne journée.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, 136255. Bonne journée. 136255. 136255. And information, uniform. Arrival, Swiss 7 Lima Victor, information, uniform at flight level 170.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, Geneva arrival, bonjour, identified, when ready, descend at flight level 110.
Altitude.
When level down to flight level 110, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. Alright, so that says when ready. I'm just going to leave it in there, we'll let the prof mode do it. 110's in the window, 110's in here, and we're armed. Looking good. Let it fly it on down and made all the altitude restrictions. We'd review the CAT III procedures with each other. I'll make a PA to the people now, by the way. We're going to be starting our descent here shortly. Give them the weather and tell them we'll be on the ground in about 15 minutes. That's about it. Call back to the flight attendants. Say it's going to be we're just going to be a very short from the top of descent. Let me see here. Prague. It's 56:11. We're going to be on the ground in 15 minutes. Make sure they're ready. And up here, I'd probably turn the lights back on. It's going to be pretty busy. Runway turn off on. And we're ready to go. We'll talk about our CAT III. We're going to have loc green, glide slope green, and then land 3 green at 1500 AFL. So first thing we'll get is loc green, glide slope green, land 3 at 1500 feet. Dual land, I'm sorry, wrong airplane. Dual land at 1500 feet AFL. Been flying a lot of the 777. We're going to have a third of a dot on the localizer, half a dot on the glide slope, plus 10, minus 5 for stable at 500. You don't say anything that you like. They don't meet the stability requirements. Just say go around. Don't say something and hope. Just say around. We got a crosswind limitation. I believe it's 15 knots on this, a 10 knot tailwind. If the braking is poor, it's a 10 knot crosswind. And right now the winds are 240 at 3, so we got basically calm winds. Left hand turn off at Delta, right hand turn off on the inner, and going up to look for gate number 5. Any questions? Negatory. All right, here it comes. Let's go in here and watch it do its magic. Should start down. Right about here. There it goes. Swiss 7 Lima Victor's out of 170 for 110. He doesn't care. Okay. Let's take a look at the descent checklist. Normals. Cruise. Descent, FMS briefing, landing data, SCDP. So landing data, that's a good one. Should have done that. Because we're going to use flaps 50 here. 145 is the landing data. Landing weight's good. We've got enough for about 3 approaches in there before we have to head back to our alternate, which today is Zurich. I think the PMDG, it was Lyon, France, but today it's Zurich. We need about 15. Our bingo fuel is 15 over the field. And right now we're sitting here at 26. So yeah, I would say we get 3 approaches in if we don't do a lot of holding. At least 2 before we had to say we're bingoing back to Zurich.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, descend flight level 900 and proceed direct sans prévoir, Sierra Papa Romeo.
Direct to Sierra Papa Romeo down to flight level 90 for Swiss 7 Lima Romeo. right, there's 9. There's 9 there. Come in here, direct Sierra Papa Romeo. I'm not going to do a beam points. There it is. And that's it. Basically straight in, guys. And Sierra Papa Romeo, what altitude are we supposed to be at? Nothing really. Oh, it says max 210 and 7,000. We may have to hustle on down here. So Sierra Papa Romeo, there it is, 209 and 7. So we'll do 210 and 7. I missed that. And it looks like we're not going to have a problem. It's starting to slow down. I'm going to help it a little bit. It says add drag down here. And once we're below 20,000 feet and we're below 280 on the speed, real high speeds on this thing. You want to know what they are. They're over here on the flap slat lever, but I just have them on a sheet next to me. Below 280 slats extend. And there we are. Once we reach our speed with slats extended, it should be okay to bring up the speed brakes. I'm going to go medium on the brakes. See how it works out here. Right now it seems to be no problem holding the speed. It's going to be 210 at SPR. And our next flaps 15 is below 255. And we can actually
Swiss
go
7 Lima Victor descend 7,000 feet QNH 1018, and for information latest AVR 400, 400 and 300.
On the 7,000 feet and 1018, and copy that. Swiss 7 Lima Victor. All right, down to 7,000. I said 7,000 in the window. Easy for me to say. 7,000 window. 7,000's up here. I'm going to go flaps 15 to give it a little drag. And I'm going to bring the speed back all the way to 210 for SPR and get nice and stable here. That is our max speed there anyway. You do not want to be hurrying up here. Heading, altitude, indicator, speed. All right. And there we go. We got flaps 15. We're bringing it on down. I'm going to arm the spoilers now. Looks pretty good. We're right on the VTI so far. Making a nice descent and approach on in. Out of 10, flight attendants prepare for landing. Come up here, and we already did no smoking. We'll cycle that. Lights are on. Descent checks complete. Altimeters. We got to set 1018. 1018 set once, 2, 3 times. Now the ILS should be tuned within 25 miles. And there it is, 1087, 224. 1087, 224. Out of 10. Guys, if we got to go miss approach here for unstable, it's going around Toga, flaps 28, which is 2 clicks. Going around Toga, flaps 28. Then it's positive rate, gear up, set missed approach altitude. Missed approach altitude is 7. That'll be in the window. And then above 400 feet, we got to get back into nav. And we'll go level change at above 800 feet and get the speed up to 210, clean up the aircraft. That's my plan for a normal go-around. Coming in nicely.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor descend 6,000 feet, clear ILS CAT III runway 22.
Down to 6,000 feet, cleared the ILS CAT III runway 22, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. All right, 6,000 set in the window, set in the box. We are clear for the ILS CAT III. We can arm it, approach land, lands armed. And over SPR, it should pick up the localizer, which is coming across right now. Right now it's on the VTI, that's 7 and 210 at SPR. According to the box, right? 7 and 210. And here we go. We're going down to 6 though. There's low capture. As you can see, there it is. Here comes the glide slope. It's probably going to capture it at 7 here. It's going to level it across SPR at 7 before it goes down to 6. I'm going to let it just capture up here at 7. Get on the glide slope instead of going down to 6. SPR at 7. Here comes the glide slope. There's glide slope capture. And it's starting down on the glide slope. Now because of that, we can set the missed approach altitude of 7,000. We've got to set that up. The heading's 224. Runway heading 225, and we're coming down. Low capture, glide slope capture. That's ice. Ice detected. Coming down nicely. We're still about 14 miles out, guys, so I'm keeping the speed up a little. I can start bringing it back. We do not want to go missed approach on a CAT III. I'll get it all the way back and be ready to activate it by pulling on it. I'll bring it down to 160, but I won't pull on it just yet. All right, we can start slowing it down. What are we? We're still 10 miles out, but we're going to get nice and stable. Let's go gear down. And speed's coming back. We're below 210, flaps 28. Flaps 28. Coming down to 160. If you remember on the box, it was 145 for flaps 50. And we're below 190, we can go flaps 35. And we can go all the way to flaps 50, below 175. Arm the spoilers, brakes, 4-laning check, we got green box. Low capture, glide slope capture. Go flaps 50. This is an interesting one. I'm going to go FMS.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor Compact Tower 118.7. Bonne journée.
18.7, bonne journée, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. There it is, 18.7. Tower Swiss 7 Lima Victor is final ILS 22 left, 22, CAT III.
Swiss 7 Lima Victor Geneva Tower LO LVR 400, 400 and 300. The wind is light and variable. Runway 22, you are clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 22, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. Alright guys, a couple of things bothering me here. I got flaps 50, low capture, glide slope capture. At 1,500 feet AFL, it's going to get a dual land test. These should be green. Let me see here. 1087, 224. I think it's a simism, guys. Otherwise, we'd have to go missed approach. I think that's a simism. So it should be 145, flaps 50. Spoilers are up, gears down. We got green. This approach is set. I'm going to go ahead, guys. I think this is a simism. I'm not sure if it's tuned. I mean, it's captured. It's flying on down. And we got the correct identifier and everything. ISW. So there's no reason this should not be land 3. I got dual land, rather. There it is. Just went back to 145. A little bothered by that. So at 1,500 feet, it goes through a dual land test. If it passes it, you'll get a dual land enunciation. The fact that it's not green right now makes me think there's a problem. So there's 1,500 feet. Usually by 1,200, you'll get dual land. We'll give it up down to 1,200. Dual land, low green. Usually you get low capture in green and glide slope capture in green earlier than that. Weird. Okay. So if we got to go around, it's Toga, going around Toga, flaps 28. Positive rate, gear up, set approach L2, which is in the window. And at 400 feet, you go nav. And at 1,000 feet or so, you go level change and dial the speed up to 210. All right, so a third of a, half a dot on the glide slope, third of a dot on the course, stable. And I'm all inside until 300 feet. FO's inside the whole way. He's spring-loaded to say, go around. Even on center line, you're going to see a line and flare come up here. If he doesn't see that, it's go around. If he's on the runway and we're rolling down, he sees us drifting, he's going to say center line. And then I click off the autopilot if we're on the ground. But we're both getting ready to go around. That's it. I see the ground, but I don't go outside till 300. Stable target, sinking 7. You got the half a dot, third of a dot, plus 10, minus 5.
400.
I'm not outside yet. Inside, outside. Inside, outside. Inside, outside. I'm looking for the lights. Inside, outside. Inside, outside. Everything's holding nicely. And there's the lights. I have the runway inside. We're looking for any kind of drift.
200.
Inside, outside, right on course. A little below the glide slope, but it's got a runway inside.
Glide slope. Glide
50,
slope.
40,
Glide
30,
slope.
20,
Glide slope.
10.
All right, in reverse. We're on the center line. If we see drifting, you call center line. Might be a little slippery. You don't pop it out of reverse. Keep it in idle reverse. Then you slowly come out of reverse. Autopilot's coming off.
Autopilot.
And then we want to see...
Swiss 7 Lima Victor, contact apron 121.855.
121.855, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. There we are. This is Charlie. I want to go up to Delta, guys. Apron, Swiss 7 Lima Victor's on the ground.
Bordeaux, Swiss 7 Lima Victor. Taxi stand 4 via outer and link 2.
Stand 4 via outer and link 2. All right, this is Charlie here, guys. We can get off. It's a little earlier than I wanted to get off, but it's no big deal. Charlie, taking the right on the outer.
Minimum.
Oh, you know what that is from?
Minimum.
Because I have 0 set here.
Minimum.
All you got to do is spin that up a little bit. That's all. I had 0 set on the radio altimeter in accordance with procedures. All right, flaps up after landing. Oh, no. We got to leave the flaps down because we land on a contaminated runway. We bring the flaps up just a couple of notches so they can be inspected. So we're going to leave flaps at 20. We'll leave them at 28 so they can see in there real good. Spoiler lever's coming back up. Go to the overhead. Start the APU. A couple of lights coming off. Put a taxi only. Strobes are off. Going to leave the engine ice on and the flaps down because we landed on a contaminated runway. That was cool, guys. Yeah, when I did the PMDG one, I came into
Hi
4.
guys, JP, welcome to Geneva. This was a typical Switzerland snowy day that we have sometimes in the winter times, where you can lose your days waiting for your slot or for your de-icing sequence. So make sure you take enough fuel when you have this kind of days, as you never know if you have a runway closure, snow removal in progress. So this is the kind of days that we love as pilot. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of scenario where you have to think a little bit ahead, de-ice the aircraft, and fly in low visibility. As always, I would be very happy to get your comment in the forum or in the Discord channel, and I see you very soon for another training scenario. Bye-bye.
Awesome. FSIPanel, you got to get it, guys. You can do multiple pattern works, take snapshots. Once you learn to use it, you can really get proficient. This is taxiway Delta, and we're going up in between Delta and Echo, right in here, to find gate 4. It'd be a miracle if we can find it, actually. It's right there. Taxi, parking stands, gate 4, see Delta, Echo, and it says link 2. We'll see if we can find it. So there's Delta, Echo's the next one. So before we get to Echo, we'll be going on in. Yeah, I think it's on the other side of this one, guys. On the other side, because that's Echo up here. So we're going to pull in there. One of the hardest part of these profiles is finding your gate, right? It's not too bad on FSIPanel, but it's always interesting on VATSIM. Yes, I do fly VATSIM, but it's hard to do what I do as an instructor kind of guy. I think gate 4 is in this way. Link 2. This looks like link 2 here. Yeah, link 2 is inside of this round thing over here. So I think we're in the right place. And if that's the case, gate 4 is right ahead of us. And you know what? It's going to be right ahead of us, because we're just going to take any gate we can find. Call this a day. Gate 4. Look at that. It's like we knew what we were doing, huh? Sure, it's too small for our aircraft. It usually is. It's hard to believe we fit in a man. It is slippery. So we left our flaps down, our engine ice on, guys. Let's stop up here with our nose on that runway, on the that crossbar, hopefully. All right, parking brakes are parked right here. Looks good. Seatbelt sign is coming off. APU's established. Chop the engines. Go back to the overhead. Turn off the beacon so that they know you can bring the jet bridge up. Put on the APU air so they don't get freezing. Turn off the IRUs. Turn off the engine ice. Don't bring the flaps up. Let them know. They have to inspect the flaps. And checklists. Let's see. Normals. Let's get them off the airplane first, though, guys. See if it works. Maybe not. Hey, FSIPanel, want to grade my landing? Landing report. Very good distance. Oh, it's an auto landing. KISS landing. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that. Good. Bang. Touchdown. Nice. Flaps. There you go. FSIPanel, guys. I'm going to shut this off now. GSX doesn't want to load. We're deactivating the airplane, and we are going to go parking. Landing lights are off. Intensity lights are off. Flaps, slats, spoilers, stabilizer trim. Set 3 degrees nose up. I forget GSX isn't going to cooperate. 3 degrees nose up. That's what you see. There's a little mark on the tail that you know if it's 3 degrees nose up when you go out there. So the FO, if he goes out there, he's doing his walk around, and he sees that it's not on that mark, he knows either the guy forgot which to put it at 3 up, or they've got a calibration problem with the trim. So 3 degrees nose up, and clear of the runway. Spoiler handles down. Spoiler trim is 3. Weather radar is off. APU started. Brakes, park set it is. Seatbelt signs off. External power, fuel switches, cargo temps. All right, let's go up here. Overhead. Finish this. Let's finish this off. They make us turn the cargo temps off. They like to turn the emergency light switches off. Not on. They actually like us to turn the evac switch off. Attaboy, Jeff. And the ignition's coming off. That's it. Want to try GSX one more time? Then we'll call it a day? Nope. Let's go outside and say goodbye. Drone's upside down. Fitting end to a beautiful story, actually. It's a beautiful flight. That's a TFDi MD-11, guys. You know, if you know how to fly this thing, it'll do right by you. It really will. It really will. It was not a fly-by-wire airplane. It's a generation just prior to the 777. But man, at the time, 1990 when it came out, developed in 86, we flew them 92, started in 91, 92 at American. It was state-of-the-art. I love this airplane very much. And I love TFDi. Nice job, guys. Welcome to Geneva. Father Time is out. Thanks for coming with me. Don't forget to subscribe.